get everything started up here. It's been a long weekend, as you may imagine. But don't be, you guys should be well informed. We did discuss this a couple of weeks ago and last week. That unexpected thing that would that would lead to bigger things, but not yet. Not yet. So you guys should be, I will inform you tonight. There's some things you need to know. I just had to make sure I'm not, I don't want to be emotionally compromised behind this because, to be honest with you, it is very irritating when human life is lost due to arrogance. So I'm going to put you guys into the know. I likely will not hold back on a few subjects. Okay? Again, though, somebody says, Mike, did you know about the invasion? More than a few people did. But I'll explain some things when I get back. It deals with ComSec, or communications security, and why it's very important to try not to have a preconceived notion in certain talks, because there's only so many hints that a person can give, right? Only so many. But we did discuss this last week. We did. And the week before that. And I believe one more week, the last 3 weeks, we discussed this. We did. But when I get back, we'll talk about this. Because America, Germany, the UK, they're not out of the woods. And they might need to know what their leaders may be too arrogant to share. All right? I'll be back in a few minutes right here at COT, and we'll get started this conversation this Monday morning. I'll be right back, everybody. All right, everybody. Let's get started, shall we? Shall we? Well, I'm sure that you guys know about the recent issues, right? The attack that's happening in Israel, in several places in Israel. Just so you guys understand, there are 900 plus dead. That number, to my understanding, is over 1,000. It's just about 1,000, I believe 1,175 plus right now. Over 2,200 wounded. That's just in Israel. As far as the other side, there are women and children also injured there likewise. The unfortunate part is the human toll. The human toll is mounting. Of course, that with earthquakes and some other things, it's mounting. But folks, I'll tell you, just so you guys understand this, Benjamin Netanyahu came back, and I realize things have been so heavily laden with politics. It's very difficult to understand what's happened or what reasons. And there's so many theories out there. Truth is easily escaped. But we did discuss this some weeks ahead in advance. And of course, I want you guys to understand something. All around the world, there's always somebody doing something. In this case, the arrogance is so high. People are so trusting of their own opinions that they have not made the right moves. As a consequence of that, enemies take advantage of things like that. And of course, when I was talking last week and the week before and the week before that, you could see this coming. Anybody could see this coming, who sits at specific tables. The problem is we live in a time when people are only concerned about being right. It seems like they're only concerned about how they look in front of other people. They could care less how many lives are lost. I'm just the opposite. I could care less about reputation. And I have a heart for people, period. I do. But Benjamin Netanyahu attempted to stave off some of the aggressive plans and plots that were taking place in the Middle East. But of course, he was fought. It was opposed by his own people. Here's why, just like it is here, right? Now, I'll tell you right now, I'm not on either side of the aisle. Both have disgusted me to a high degree. Both have. because of arrogance, and it's cost lives. This could have been avoided. This could have been stopped, but they were too arrogant to do anything about it. Of course, I'm not going into that field. Not going to do that. But I will tell you right now, I'm not on either side of the aisle. I am not in agreement with anybody on either side of that aisle. Too much arrogance. And the news media, which is bought and paid for, it seems like they can't tell the truth unless you pay them, $100,000 a month to do it. And still they won't tell the truth. They'll tell propaganda that supports politics. Everything this year has been about politics. Politics. As a consequence of that, they have underrated movements from Iran, right? From Hamas, parts of Lebanon, and arrogantly, they said they're not going to do anything about it. Halfway through this talk, I'm going to tell you guys something. I hope you're listening, because I won't revisit that again. It will unfold, and you will see it. But these people that are victims of what happened, the infiltration began when Netanyahu was pushed back. A lot of people came into that country under the guise of different political groups. They embedded themselves with certain families. Many families have been taken hostage. Many people have been killed directly in the Middle East. That is not propaganda. They were just ruthlessly killed. And of course, they picked people not at random, but people who had affiliations with governmental individuals who would stop a large Islamic movement. So here we are. And now, because Iran has effectively equipped through Saudi Arabia and two other nations, I won't name, but they have equipped militarily Hamas. Israel has now gone forward. Listen to this decree. They plan on wiping out the entirety of the Hamas military machine. Now, do you guys understand what that means? The offensive is setting up now. I did put a small article, well, not an article, more like a statement on the homepage of the website. That should explain it very bluntly. They're moving assets into position, not only them, but all countries are doing it. I encourage you to read it. It's just a very small paragraph, right? And this is not for posturing. It's not. The clock is already past a start time. So now people are in a rush, a mad dash, to make up for loose ends. Your military leaders expected this. Your politicians did not listen to your military leaders. They did not. And certain military leaders that have high ambitions for politics, they didn't listen either. Again, for some reason, and we know what that reason is because we are believers, people are more interested in being right than saving lives. Now, we all know if there were no police officers in a country, we all know what would happen to that country almost overnight. What you're seeing right now is the true nature of what certain parties or certain groups would do if no one has authority in those areas. And if you think it's just in Israel, maybe you're not understanding the situation. They embedded themselves among the people in Israel. The attacks began from within. That caught most people off guard. They've also embedded themselves in Germany. They also have embedded themselves in the UK. They also have embedded themselves right here in the USA. And we're not talking about recently. This is over time. Some of the individuals that were embedded there have been there for 20 years and they didn't make a move. You starting to understand? 20 years and they didn't make a move. 20 years and Hamas has attacked Israel over and over and they didn't do anything. They were still seen as citizens. unbeknown to most, to just about everyone except the Mossad. They were loyalists of an Islamic movement